The Senate passes bill to prohibit theft of electricity and supply infrastructure.
The water source protection regulations is expected to promote reliable access to water.
A legal backing for national water security in the offing.
Combating this crime in both countries work together to achieve maximum results.
NAPTIP tackles human trafficking through trans-border collaboration. And the federal government signs Memorandum of Understanding with Interpol on implementation of West Africa Police Information System. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight on the News at 9. We are live on the network service of the NTA. I am Kene Emma Aboriken in Abuja. Michael Olaleye joins me tonight from Lagos, while Chinonye Nwoye is in Enugu. The Senate has passed the Electric Power Sector Reform Act Amendment Bill. The bill seeks to prohibit theft of electricity and its supply infrastructure in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Legislative business in the Senate at Tuesday's plenary kicked off with a letter from President Muhammadu Buhari stating reasons for withholding his assent on the Nigerian Correctional Service Bill.
Section 44D of the bill, which seeks to fund the special non-custodial fund, with 5% of all fines paid to the federal courts, violates the provisions of Section 81 and 84 of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
Matters of infrastructural development continued on the floor as Senate considered and passed the bill for the amendment of the Electric Power Sector Reform Act No. 6 of 2005.
To punish any person on conviction who have engaged in willful and criminal damage to public power infrastructure, installation, equipment and facilities.
The Chemical Weapons Prohibition Bill was also passed.
Signatories to the Chemical and Biological Weapon Convention are required to establish or designate a national authority that will serve as a national focal point to ensure effective coordination.
Senate passed the National Board for Technical Education Repeal and Reenactment Bill.
Will promote the institutionalization of professional and technical skills development for sustenance of our national economy.
On the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
6 reintroduced bills were passed for first reading, including the National Assembly Budget and Research Office Bill. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Still staying with the legislature, the House of Representatives has urged the federal government to stop the issuance of fish import license as it is inimical to the economic diversification policy of the government. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that this was during Tuesday's plenary following a motion of urgent public importance on the matter.
The lawmakers, while debating the motion from Representative Jonathan Gaza, expressed worry that fish importers have turned Nigeria into a dumping ground for fish and related products, some of which are below approved standard.
If this trend continues, the gains that have been recorded by local fish farmers and employment that have been created will be lost.
It becomes easy to govern your country when people are not hungry, when people have economic power. Those are the two things that will safeguard anything.
Steps are being taken to phase out completely fish importation within the next 2 years.
The House requested the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and the Bank of Agriculture to make available incentives to local fish farmers to boost production and in view of additional advantage of job creation. An ad hoc committee is to be set up to investigate all licenses granted for fish importation within the last 1 year. In the meantime, 7 bills were passed at plenary. However, a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Forensic and Investigative Auditors of Nigeria couldn't scale second reading after extensive arguments for and against its passage. 7 reports were considered and adopted by the lawmakers as the Committee of the Whole. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
A national policy and regulation framework to provide sustainable security to water sources against potential terror and harmful threats resulting from various human activities is being developed. Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu says the framework is to provide legal backing for national water security policy for improved and reliable water quality and better livelihood. Justin Bem-Unyi has details.
In line with best global practices, there is a growing concern of recent among stakeholders on the need to provide effective security to water source and adopt water source protection. This came to the fore at the inauguration of a technical committee to this effect.
The National Water Source Protection Policy Framework is expected to recommend the establishment of the following. Number 1, to set up special national security brigade similar to security and civil defense corps for the purpose of water source protection task. 2, to amend water use and license regulations of 2016 and adopt water source protection plan, a mandatory requirement in the water process of issuance of water use licenses or authorizations processes similar to EIA regulations.
The water source protection regulations is expected to particularly 1, promote reliable access to water of sufficient quantity and quality for basic human needs.
The National Water Source Protection Policy, if developed, would provide for National Critical Infrastructure Protection Advisory Group. Justin Bem-Unyi, NTA News.
To other matters now, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed was guest at the Voice of America corporate headquarters in Washington, D.C. Anthony Forsin now reports on the minister's outing at the VOA and other activities.
On arrival, senior officials of the Voice of America African Service were on hand to receive the minister and straight into the studio. Then, the interview for both radio and television platforms got underway. First shot was on the February 23rd election.
When you look at the presidential election, even in those states where we lost governorship election, we won very handsomely in the presidential election, which means that the president's achievement was appreciated by almost everybody.
Then, the Zamfara state situation.
The last 2 weeks have also shown quite a lot of improvement. I think the twin approach of the government.
Building the economy, corruption, just as the question on are there sacred cows in the President Muhammadu Buhari's government came up.
Today, if anything, corruption has been driven underground in Nigeria. It's no longer on the surface, it's no longer on the table. But the other way to look at it is that, you see, one way of corruption fighting back is also to try to smear everybody.
Nigeria and the United States relation was not left out. With this over, and the host expressing satisfaction with explanations provided by the minister walked into the Georgetown University, where Professor Scott Taylor, director of the university's African Studies program, was waiting with his students to engage the minister. The students spared the minister no breath as they fielded questions every curious child will field at a parent. The minister, on his part, towed the fatherly line, responding to all that seemed to be agitating the minds of the students by explaining what the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration has achieved in 4 years and its focus for another 4-year term.
Make no mistake about that, the government will not negotiate the issue of corruption, because there's a correlation between corruption and underdevelopment, between corruption and poverty. So it will still be the bedrock of the agenda of the Mr. President. And then insecurity and economic prosperity are also linked.
In the end, the students, most of whom are of Nigerian descent, born in the United States, engaged the minister with a renewed hope of looking forward to coming back home to Nigeria upon graduation, knowing that they have a country they can call home. In Washington, D.C., Anthony Forson, NTA News.
A court of appeal in Lagos has affirmed the conviction of a Congolese, Kotu Mesana Mbutu Blaise, and the forfeiture of $551,225 to the federal government. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, had arraigned the convict on April 21, 2015, before a federal high court in Lagos. EFCC had urged Justice Ibrahim Buba to convict Blaise following his failure to declare the said $551,225 in his possession to the men of the Nigeria Customs Service at the point of entry into Nigeria. Dissatisfied with the verdict of Justice Buba, the convict approached the Court of Appeal in Lagos for redress, asking the appellate court to set aside the judgment of the lower court. But in a unanimous judgment by 3 justices of the Court of Appeal, the appellate court affirmed the verdict of the lower court, saying that the said money be forfeited to the federal government. More on the judiciary. The FCT High Court sitting in Maitama has dismissed the embezzlement charges filed against the suspended Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Monir Gwarzo, by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission. The court rules that the severance package paid to him is in line with the guidelines of the commission. Olabode Arewa reports.
The Independent Corrupt Practices Commission accused Monir Gwarzo of using his position as the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission to corruptly appropriate 150 million naira to himself as a severance package after he had worked there as an executive commissioner. Also charged along with him was the second defendant, Zakwano Garuba, who was accused of aiding Gwarzo to misappropriate the funds. Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf said the charges of criminal breach of trust were not sustainable because the guidelines which established the Securities Act gave the board authority to formulate guidelines for a smooth conduct, and this included fixing the severance package of the Director General.
The court followed the principles of no case submission as enunciated in the relevant laws. So justice is served. We are very grateful. We are indeed thankful.
Meanwhile, at the resumed trial of former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki, Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf issued a warrant to the Department of State Security, DSS, that it should produce the former NSA in court on the 24th of May 2019. The court order was made due to complaints by both the prosecution and the defense teams that the EFCC has been unable to produce Sambo Dasuki in court. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Now, a software application to track gas flaring in Nigeria has been launched by the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, in Abuja. Mia Ogidi tells us more.
Flames on daily basis that sometimes change the lining of the skies, and oil spills from the pipes that turn the forest to bare grounds. With these challenges in mind, Musa Idris Olobola, the new Director General of the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, made a promise on assumption of office.
The plan is all about getting ready, putting the prepositioning oil response tools.
3 weeks after this promise, NOSDRA and other development partners have put in place software devices in order to track oil spill and gas flaring in the country.
We are flaring this gas, and we have some turbines that require gas to fire them, and there's no gas there.
But from now on, we'll be able to tell you how much heat is generated. We'll be able to tell you how much gas is flared and what is the cost of this gas that is flared.
And I believe NOSDRA are well capable of taking over this tool 100%.
Nigeria can now preempt oil spills, especially those as a result of system failure. Mia Ogidi, NT News.
President Muhammadu Buhari condoles with President Emmanuel Macron of France and all citizens over the tragic fire incident that gutted parts of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President extends his sympathy to Christians in Nigeria and all over the world following partial destruction of the historical cathedral, which houses different valuable items held dear by worshippers. President Buhari and Nigerians joined the world in shock and disbelief as the highly revered and historical church building went up in flames on Monday, praying that the Almighty God will provide resources and capacity for full restoration. As one of UNESCO's World Heritage Sites, a central place of worship for Christians and a symbol of France, the President urges joint faith in prayers for the country and its citizens. NAPTIP evolves new strategies to stem the tide of human trafficking in the country. Details when we return. Stay with us.
When I was a little girl, I loved spending time with Mum and Grandma cleaning the house. I was so excited to sing in the choir.
And your shirts are always so white.
I knew what Mum's secret was. Today, I'm a modern woman that still trusts the secret passed down to me. It's Jik, of course. The original trusted bleach, which can be used all around your house for amazing results.
Shh, it's our little secret.
It's no secret. It's Jik's best ever extra whitening power. Just Jik it.
Team huddle.
But we lost.
Don't be tired, guys. This isn't a loss. It's a practice for winning.
Nothing makes a mother prouder than seeing her child growing up. But I know as he learns to lead, he'll face even more dirt, germs, and risk of illness.
That's why in changing seasons, you need strong Dettol protection. Because Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Can your milk do this?
Can your milk do this? Mine can.
With Hollandia evaporated milk, your ice cream, custards, and variations of beverages taste pleasantly different. Hollandia evaporated milk. Life tastes different.
From the House of Chi.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Welcome back. Lack of respect, tolerance, and inability of youth to forward their grievances for dialogue is said to be the cause of renewed crisis between Tiv and Jokun communities on the borders of Taraba and Benue State. This was during a meeting of stakeholders from both states on the recent crisis between the two ethnic groups. Joseph Otsen reports that stakeholders visited the affected communities after the meeting in Wukari.
The crisis is reported to have started 2 weeks ago after a disagreement between two people from the two ethnic groups at a market in Kente, Wukari local government area, escalating to other communities. Authorities from Taraba and Benue states have been on their toes to stop the mayhem, and this security meeting at the Federal University Wukari, hosting top government officials, traditional rulers, youth groups, and security agencies from the two states is one of the pragmatic steps.
Most of these people are farmers, those people that were displaced. If you burn down their houses, their means of livelihood, how can they go back to go and farm?
It is important to know if there are underlying factors.
Don't take the law onto your hand.
I want to appeal to the youths in particular. As this meeting goes on, please give it your best.
A communique was signed at the end of the interface with a resolve never to fight again and for the governments to work towards resettling the victims. From Ukari, Joseph Sound Otsen, NTA News.
In line with the federal government's efforts towards fighting corruption and criminality in the country, the Federal Ministry of Interior has signed a memorandum of understanding with the global police organization Interpol to help bring criminals to book. Chimobi Walter Naji completes the report.
Over the years, the fight against corruption and insurgency in the country has taken different dimensions, with insurgents taking advantage of the nation's porous borders to perpetrate mayhem and run into neighboring countries. This memorandum of understanding between the International Police Organization and the Nigerian security apparatus will help Nigeria share security information with other countries through the West Africa Police Information System WAPIS.
This event is the culmination of a process of establishing the legal framework governing the implementation of WAPIS program in Nigeria, which includes the establishment of a national electronic police information system.
I sincerely welcome this as an important step forward in our collective fight against crime.
Stakeholders present at the signing ceremony, including the European Union Ambassador to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Ketil Carlson, and the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, believes with operations, the fight against global crime, maritime piracy, and stopping international crime syndicates from infiltrating the country will be an easy one with the use of technology. Chimobi Walter Naji, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Secretary General of Interpol, Jürgen Stork, paid similar visit to the EFCC headquarters, where he commended the zeal and concerted efforts of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in ridding Nigeria of all forms of economic crime. He stressed that partnership between Interpol and the EFCC will help in building a strong network in the fight against corruption across the globe. Mr. Stork explained that the fight against corruption will help in the fight against terrorism, as the main source of terrorism financing comes from corruption.
We know that corruption is an evil almost all around the world. It's a disaster. And it requires a strong commitment from our political leaders and from law enforcement to go behind corruption. And we know it's all for money. So our collective efforts to seize criminal assets, to recover criminal assets, to go behind the money and to successfully retrieve it, that's at the core of fighting organized crime.
On his part, EFCC Acting Chairman Ibrahim Magu stressed that corruption in Nigeria needs concerted efforts within and outside of the country to combat. He further gave assurances that the EFCC will remain unrelenting and resolute in its fight against corruption.
We have just made the request for extradition of a lot of people, and I think we get to know the Interpol more, and we'll get to use the facilities provided by the Interpol. Because my understanding is that the moment you place somebody at alert, if you can identify, I think the other country, if we can prove your case very well, the other country is supposed to arrest and hand over to us.
Nigeria and the British government are working together to ensure a change in behavior among young people, particularly ladies who believe life abroad is promising. It is in that regard that a campaign tagged Not for Sale is launched in Abuja. Usman Aliyu reports.
It's a campaign to inspire young people to realize the abundant opportunities in Nigeria, which can support them and make their dream a reality without risking their lives by embarking on desperate journeys to unknown destinations. The Not for Sale campaign is not just a woman's parley, but a platform for an inquisitive mind to ponder about sexual exploitation and domestic servitude, which young girls and children fall victim when trafficked. Revelations such as the story of Gift, a lady rescued from Libya who is now established and successful, were shared. But still, more is expected on awareness for others to understand the value of opportunities in Nigeria.
There are positive alternatives here in Nigeria for people to follow and have successful outcomes like the people featured in the campaign.
Today is it's early stages. This is the launch of this campaign. This is a new direction that we're taking in partnership with the government of Nigeria, but we think it will be a positive direction and one that many people will be able to get behind.
I mean, it's going to send a very strong signal to so many youths, young boys and girls, and we're hoping that this campaign will drive home the message more to the youths.
The proponent of this movement, Not for Sale, believe that the campaign will further strengthen sustainable cooperation on social development between Nigeria and the UK government. In Abuja, Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
In a related development, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, is evolving new strategies to stem the tide of human trafficking in the country. Its latest undertaking is a renewed partnership with its counterparts in Niger Republic, aimed at tackling the trans-border nature of the illicit trade. Victor Azu reports.
One of the challenges in the fight against human trafficking in Nigeria is the trans-border collaboration of the crime. This visit by the Nigerian National Agency for the Fight Against Trafficking in Persons and Illicit Trafficking of Migrants to its Nigerian counterpart signals the commitment of both countries to combat a common enemy headlong. This much is admitted by the Director General of NAPTIP, Julie Okadonli.
And it is very important that the two agencies tasked with combating this crime in both countries work together to achieve maximum results.
The importance of this synergy is not lost on the visitors from Niger, as the two countries share the common tag of being both transit and destination routes for human trafficking.
We realize that there's no way we can succeed without collaborating with Nigeria.
The meeting also serves as an opportunity to share experiences and compare notes. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
The Nigeria High Commission in Ghana says the video trending on the social media purportedly showing the maltreatment of Nigerians in Ghana is fake. In a statement following inquiries by NTA News, the Nigerian High Commission denies the insinuations that the video emanated from Ghana. The statement made available to NTA indicates that there was no time Nigerians were subjected to such inhuman treatment by any Ghanaian authority. The Commission, however, admits that some Nigerians who have overstayed their 90 days ECOWAS grace period without regularizing their papers are periodically being deported, but this has in no way affected the cordial bilateral relations between Nigeria and Ghana. The Commission therefore advises the public to disregard the said video. An elite force positioned to tackle insecurity in Nigeria with focus on air power best describes the course for 2018 graduates of the Nigerian Air Force War College, Makurdi. Najatu Tijani reports on the graduation ceremony of this group in Makurdi.
It is important to note that air power remains a critical component of national security, especially in the face of evolving threats to peace and unity. Stakeholders therefore agree that the changing character of warfare calls for adaptive strategies in military operations.
This is what the Course 4 graduates are expected to bring to the table, considering the elite training they have undergone in the past 6 months.
Turning out officers grounded in operations and strategy to fit into Nigerian military and defense architecture. The state government is particularly grateful to the Air Force because it has been contributing immensely in the affairs of the Security Council.
These performances, above all, have reinforced our belief that the service will benefit positively from establishing this college through better strategic planning and implementation of doctrines in the near future.
For Nigerian Air Force pilot Wing Commander Kingsley Ajero, best all-round Course 4 graduate, going the distance for the sake of peace is a small sacrifice compared to the greater good.
All the training I received here will be applied and all will be tailored towards national security.
This is coming at a time when injecting fresh ideas into the nation's security system has become the top priority of security managers. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
The Buhari Media Organization has held the military authorities, the police and other security agencies over successes in recent frontal offensives to stem the tide of insecurity in the country. In a statement by its chairman, Niyi Akinshiju, the group says the success stories of the last few days are a consequence of proactive actions initiated by the president after an extraordinary meeting with service chiefs, heads of security agencies and ministers saddled with the responsibilities of overseeing security agencies. The group also noted the international dimension of the security challenge, especially in northern Nigeria. President Buhari was in charge at the weekend for an emergency regional security meeting involving about 29 countries, which was a good opportunity for the president to seek international support for the quest to stifle supply line of small arms and light weapons to bandits and insurgents terrorizing some parts of the country. According to the group, President Buhari has acquainted himself well on the basis of the performance of security forces against banditry, insurgency and kidnapping in recent days. Now, 2 brothers arrested over JAMB examination malpractices. Details with Michael in our Lagos studio.
Thank you, Kene, and welcome to Lagos. 2 candidates were apprehended in one of the computer-based test CBT centers in Lagos for alleged involvement in malpractices in the ongoing Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, conducted by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. The registrar, Professor Ishak Oloyede, and his monitoring team visited the center where he disclosed that over 100 candidates have so far been arrested in the ongoing examination, Jane Ojukwu reports.
The 2 culprits, who ironically are biological sons of the owner of the CBT Center, were allegedly caught taking screenshots of the UTME questions with the intention of selling them to candidates for financial gains.
I just took pictures of the dummy exam to show him what the CBT looks like. And I conveyed it to this, my friend, and said, okay, look at it. You're going to have 4 options. Choose either 1 or 2 or 3. That's how it's going to be. I have only 4 pictures of this.
The registrar, Professor Oloyede, explained that JAMB had deployed various mechanisms to make it impossible for its examinations to be compromised, and where there is an attempt to do so, to be detected and the culprits will be punished.
And what they were able to do is just to take the snapshot, the screenshot of the questions and start selling them to others, as you have heard from one of them. And they happen because we have banned the use of mobile phone in our CBT centers. But they are not aware that there are CCTV camera which we watch from Abuja and we see what is going on everywhere. They put off the screen, the CCTV camera, thinking that we will not see what they were doing because they are the biological owner, children of the owner.
So far, 50 CBT centers have been delisted over one irregularity or the other. This center, known as Risk Global, located on Ikorodu Road, Lagos, has joined the list of the suspended lot. Over 1.6 million candidates have so far written the UTME out of the 1.8 million that registered for the examination. In Lagos, Jane Ojukwu, NTA News.
The Acting Inspector General of Police, Adamu Muhammad, has stressed the enforcement of discipline in the Nigerian police force. The Acting Inspector General emphasized this when he paid a courtesy visit to the Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode over recent cases of extrajudicial killings recorded in the state. Nosa Osula reports.
The Acting Inspector General, who was accompanied on the visit by top police chiefs, explained that the affected officers have already been arrested and tried internally, while assuring residents that they would also face criminal prosecution for such acts, which, according to him, was against the ethics of the force.
We are to serve members of the public who are not their masters, but who are their servants. And the officers and men in Lagos State have been doing a lot of good job. They have been fighting crime and they have been succeeding. But the act of few officers out of many in Lagos State is denting the good work that others have done.
Governor Akinwumi Ambode commended the acting IG for taking it upon himself to promptly address the extrajudicial killings in the state personally, despite his responsibilities across the country.
For the IG himself to come promptly to address issues that relate to, public feelings about SARS and other things, and actually talking to Nigerian police officers themselves. So that means it's taking the responsiveness to within the Nigerian police itself before we start to address extra issues that have to be border on citizens.
The governor assured the police chief of the continuous support of the state government. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. More reports with Kene after this commercial break. Please stay with us.
You people sell imported materials here. As beautiful as the shop is.
Auntie, buying foreign goods does not help our economy. Neither does it boost local production. And the good thing is Nigerian-made products are high quality. Really? And to make Nigeria great again. That is why I only sell made in Nigeria products. Because change begins with me.
I'm convinced. Change begins with me too. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Thank you for staying with us. Nigeria consumer inflation falls slightly just as trading on the floor of the Nigeria Stock Exchange for Tuesday erases Monday's lows. Amina Nojem is here in the studio with business news. A bit of good news on Nigeria's consumer inflation fall.
Exactly, Kenneth. The National Bureau of Statistics has released the latest Consumer Price Index (CPI), which measures inflation. It indicates that inflation increased by 11.25% year-on-year in March 2019. This is a 0.06 percentage points lower than 11.31% recorded in February of 2019. Increases were recorded in all classification of individual consumption by purpose division that yielded the headline index. Food inflation, however, drops to 13.45% in March 2019 from 13.47% in February. This rise in food index was caused by increases in prices of bread, cereals, among others. Core inflation also drops to 9.50 in March to 9.80% in February. Urban inflation rate increased by 11.54% year-on-year in March 2019 from 11.59% recorded in February of the same year, while the rural inflation rate increased by 10.99% in March from 11.05% in February. The Consumer Price Index measures the average change over time in prices of goods and services consumed by people day-to-day living. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Stock Exchange OSHA Index has erased Monday's losses as investors gained 94.03 billion naira. All-share index appreciated by 0.85% to close below the 30,000 points. This is against a 0.14% depreciation recorded previously. Its year-to-date return stands at minus 5.36%, with market capitalization at 11 trillion naira mark. 321 million shares worth 4.657 million naira exchanged hands in 2,779 deals. United Bank for Africa, Guarantee and AfriShow were the most active to boost market turnover. Guarantee and UBA topped market value list. In the meantime, Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, has reassured civil servants in the country of the commitment of his office on payment of promotion arrears, which he says is in line with the directive of President Muhammadu Buhari. Ahmed Idris gave this assurance when he played host to national executives of the Association of Senior Civil Servants in Nigeria, who were on a courtesy call in his office. The nation's treasurer says, acting on the president's directive, 10 billion naira will be set aside monthly from May 2017 to offset backlog of promotion arrears. Kene, that's about it from the business desk.
Thank you indeed, Amina. Now, surveyors who compromise the code of ethics of the profession will have their certificates withdrawn. This note of caution is coming from the Surveyors Council of Nigeria, as 371 members were inducted into the council in Abuja, bringing the total number of registered land surveyors to almost 4,000.
The numerical strength of the surveying industry in Nigeria continued to widen, as 371 fresh surveyors inducted by the Surveyors Council of Nigeria. Expectedly, they are glad with the new feat attained. But for the grandmasters in the surveying field, they are coming at the most challenging time in the history of the profession, because they have a critical role in stemming the rising tide of building collapses in Nigeria.
They have to practice professionally. Surveyors that will determine how the building should be set out to save the lives and cost of a lot of things.
The country needs to more to solve most of the environmental problems that we have. Whatever you see in us that is not good, do not do what? Do not emulate it. Remember that you have a service to God and to your country.
Yes, challenging moment, but for the Surveyor General of the Federation, the federal government is set to offer them the best, considering their indispensable roles in the nation's infrastructural industry.
As I speak, recruitment is going on. So those of you who are qualified, please avail yourself of these chances.
Certificates and seals confirm their admission into the respected surveying family. For the outstanding ones, awards and prizes presented to them. And they expect the best from them. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
A bigger and better stage is set for thrilling and soul-edifying cultural performances as the 4th edition of the African Drums Festival beckons in Ogun State. The state governor, Ibukule Amosun, revealed this while addressing a world press conference ahead of 2019 African Drum Festival in Abuja, the state capital. Leko Abunde reports.
For 4 consecutive years, the annual festival, which continued to give audience and participants moments of ecstasy with series of educative and entertaining activities. This year's event, which has been scheduled for between 25th and 27th of April, the governor, Ibukule Amosun, says we offered an improved menu.
What we said to do was that when we get to that light, we will now discover that it will run positively well on other areas, particularly our tourism.
Chairman, Local Organizing Committee for the festival, and Deputy Governor Yetunde Ononuga noted that more than 23 troops and 71 independent troops and troops from continents beyond Africa are expected to participate in the festival.
This edition will be spectacular and extraordinary in delivery.
The 2019 African Drum Festival, with the theme Drumming the Future, is expected to feature a series of events including exhibitions, commissioning of cultural heritage in honor of notable cultural icons, and roundtable conferences to be coordinated by the Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agnode, NTA News.
Let's now join Chinenye in Enugu for more reports.
Thank you, Kene. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. The federal government has expanded the scope of training of youths in science and engineering. 109 of such youths, including graduates and artisans, are undergoing a one-month training at the Scientific Equipment Development Institute, said the Enugu State. Besides dependence on white-collar jobs. Beauty Ehobamian reports.
The 109 youths are drawn randomly from the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT. For the first time in about 11 years, the training is matching artisans with graduates in engineering and science to give them skills for self-reliance.
We train them so that they can start their own small-scale business. They can start by designing machines and sell them to the public.
Head of Training Study said the youths are being trained in ICT, electric motor rewinding, domestic wiring, welding and fabrication. Other skills are mechanic shop practice as well as mechanic maintenance to expand the engineering and technological base of the country.
We deliver a quality 90% technical content delivery in this skill acquisition is being implemented and is fully undergoing its desired supervision and monitoring.
Other management staff of the institute also advised them to take full advantage of the opportunity provided by the training. Representative of the participants gave assurance that they will take the training seriously. The special training by SEDI began in 2008. It is part of the federal government effort to provide a strong base for the national economy by expanding the scope of engineering and technological skills for self-reliance. In Enugu, Beauty Egobamie, NTA News.
The Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, has expressed its commitment to building the capacity of its personnel to sustain the achievements of the Corps. The Corps Marshal FRSC, Dr. Boboye, stated this at the opening of an ongoing promotion course at the Road Safety Academy in Enugu. Nena Igwe reports.
The 328 assistant corps commanders were drawn from all the sectors across the country. Addressing the participants, the Corps Marshal Dr. Boboye Oyoyemi noted that promotions are not awards but a frequent recognition of hard work. He urged the benefiting officers to distinguish themselves in physical fitness and intelligence through assertive performance in oral and written examinations.
Character is a critical factor when it comes to elevation to the next level. There you go, the leaner the vacancies.
The Corps Marshal reiterated the Commission's determination to fast-track its vision of taking Nigeria to join the 20 best road safety performing countries of the world with zero road traffic fatality. The Assistant Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Academy, Kenneth Wewe, also advised the participants to be of good behavior. Some participants at the promotion course expressed optimism that the promotion exercise will be successful.
Expectation is really high. I believe the same goes for every other participant. Gearing up and counting down.
Everybody here has a role to play to ensure that road safety become a world-class organization and also achieve the purpose for which we established.
The Corps Marshal also inspected the Quarter Guards. Federal Road Safety Academy, UDI, in Enugu State, has been upgraded to a degree awarding institution which will take off in September. In Enugu, Nena Igwe, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Enugu. Kene is back to you in Abuja for more. Good evening.
Thank you, Chinaya. The federal government has promised to continue to improve the proficiency of beneficiaries of the Presidential Amnesty Program through regular training in various areas. Coordinator of the program, Professor Charles Dokobor, gave the assurance in Oyo, Akwa Ibom State at a 4-day training for youths in the Niger Delta region. Marian Vincent Oko reports.
This is the first time a train-the-trainer program on Nigeria Agricultural Enterprise Curriculum for Presidential Amnesty Program graduate beneficiaries is being organized. The aim of the training, put together by the Office of the Coordinator of Presidential Amnesty Program in collaboration with other donor agencies, is to enhance the skills of these 20 participants drawn from the field of poultry and aquaculture. While appreciating the funding agency for making the training possible, the coordinator, Presidential Amnesty Program, Professor Charles Dokubo, who was represented, urged the beneficiaries to maximize the opportunities being offered through the training.
Each of these beneficiaries will be registered with the CAC as a consulting firm, provided with an office and training room, NAEC, aquaculture and poultry kits, and office equipment.
Partners and facilitators of the project, including the host, appreciated the federal government for the initiative and promised to continue to support the program. The participants described the training as very beneficial and appreciated the federal government for its commitment to the implementation of the amnesty program. The participants are drawn from the 9 states of the Niger Delta region. In Uyo,
still to come tonight is sports after these messages.
Export incentive in agriculture for economic growth and development. That's the focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. The program, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m., promises to be incisive and educative. Don't miss it.
Golden Eaglets 1 win away from qualifying for 2019 FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Brazil as Vincent Toga targets more wins on the African Tour. Ayodiji Makinde has more on Sports Update.